Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. So this book, I think I mentioned maybe a couple reviews ago, but I am in the middle of a leadership course, and I was tasked with reading a book, and so I already read that book, and so my coach, she was like, hey, I have another book that I think you might be interested in. And I want you to talk to this friend of mine. So I did that. And the book is The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And in this book, the reason she had me read the book is because as I was talking with her friend who does a lot of work with emotions, we were chit-chatting and she was like, I feel like you might have a couple emotions that are blocked. And I thought that was very interesting, especially because people frequently say that I have a wall up or that there is a wall or something like that when they're talking with me or when they're interacting with me. And I know that I can wall up when I get to a point that I'm like, I don't want to deal with like a person or a specific set of emotions. Like I know I can. But she was explaining, she was like, no, like you're holding on to this wall for an extended period and it's not serving you. So she was like, just read this book. You know, you don't have to necessarily believe it or agree with everything in it. And just, tell me what you think. Come back to me afterwards. So I started reading the book. And it's really, oh, so truthful. And the book mostly focuses on what Dr. Nelson considers trapped emotions. So basically the idea that you might have experienced something, or it could just be an emotion that you associated with a specific action, and therefore it becomes trapped within your body. And it doesn't always, but it can cause different physical ailments, or you might feel it in like a certain spot in your body. I know a lot of times we think of when we have certain emotions come up upon us, we say that we feel them in certain parts of our body. So like people talk about feeling stress in your shoulders or maybe in your low back. I know I feel it in my shoulders and my neck a lot. And so just reading through the book, just the discussion around trapped emotions, that is like bar none, like really, really important. And I think it's something that we all need to really be aware of is that we can hold those emotions within ourselves. Even if you think you've dealt with an emotion from years ago, you might not have actually fully dealt with the emotion that was left, and it gets trapped in your body for years. And so he talks about releasing those emotions and ways to release them. And that bit of it was really important. I also really liked what he said about closer to the end. I took a lot of notes, but closer to the end of the book, he talks about being one with God, and as the fact that God created us, if we are to continue to live with these trapped emotions, we're also blocking ourselves from really connecting with God on a full level, and connecting with the Holy Spirit on a full level, which I think is very important, at least for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys out there, but for me and what I believe, that is highly important for me. And so it was very, very important that I understood what he was saying and understood more as I was reading through the book, and just making sure that I'm also able to maintain my connection with the Spirit and God. So like that part of it is great. Part I don't fully agree with is that like it causes some severe that trapped emotions can cause some severe medical issues such as cancer or muscular degenerative disorders, certain neurological disorders. I just no. that one is where I drew the line. Just because, like, yes, I do feel like that a lot of times we get hung up on our emotions negatively, and that can cause actual physical ailments, like 100%. Like, we all feel those things, like, that's clear. But as far as those emotions then developing into breast cancer, that one I just really kind of had a struggle with overall. And there were other examples that he used. And then the latter part of the book talks about clearing those emotions. And he was saying that in a lot of patients that he sees, when he has cleared those emotions, he's been able to clear some of those extreme diseases and disorders. And that may be true for him and for those people, but there's a little bit of medicine in here that we gotta also be aware of. But it's not to say that we can't, make ourselves positive beings. And I do think that is important when we are healing from varying diseases like cancer, or we're in the healing process. If we keep a very negative mindset, if we keep a very angry mindset, we won't heal as fast. We don't develop the potential of healing as quickly. And I do think that part of it is important. So yeah. And then I also really think that the clearing of the trapped emotions, or any emotions, is also very important. And he has some test and stuff in here. He kind of explains how those things work. I did try a couple of them. They work. Just testing yourself to see if you have a trapped emotion, that does actually work. And so I was very fascinated by some of the emotions that I had for myself that were trapped. And by no means am I done releasing all of those trapped. It's not like a one and done situation. However, I do feel better after releasing a few of those emotions. So there's that side of it. In terms of the book itself, overall, I definitely give it a 4 out of 5. I really feel like he did a really great job explaining kind of his experiences and what he's researched and found. All of that is really good. I just didn't fully agree with some of the severe disorders and diseases and things like that. Because of that, there's that side of not having it out of 5. Also, he gets very repetitive. There's a couple times where once he explains what the process is, he re-explains the process 25 more times in different scenarios, and I was like, okay, we've already established we know what the process is at this point. So I don't need it repeated that many times. So it did make the book a little bit longer, but like I said, overall, really good book, really fascinating concept, very interesting processes. So yeah, there you have it. The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Very interesting, very fascinating read. So thank you to my coach Jody for recommending the book. And that was exciting to read. So there you have it. And I will say that this is not a novel at all. This is a regular self-help book. So if you're not into self-help books, this is not for you. But yeah, so that is it for this book review. As always, please continue to recommend books. Just got a couple more book recommendations. They go right in the pile. So adding those to the list, and we're working through the list. This spring break has been crazy. And so I've been reading a lot, but also really working on myself. And then I hope everyone, I think this will launch after the eclipse, but I hope those of you that are traveling to Indiana, which is where I live, have safe travels here and back as you're enjoying the eclipse. And I will see you all in the next book review. Bye.